My name is Eileen Tomzuk, and I'm the Education Coordinator at the Louisiana State Museum. Today, we're going to talk about being ready for hurricane season. Hurricane season started on June 1st, and it goes until November 30th, and there's a lot you can do to help your family be prepared. First, we're going to hear from one of our local first responders, Lieutenant Xiaobin from the United States Coast Guard. She'll tell us why it's so important to follow local and state guidelines during an emergency so that first responders can do their jobs. Then we'll talk about building a family communication plan, and you can help us make an emergency supply kit. Finally, we'll give you a short tour of the exhibition Living with Hurricanes, Katrina and Beyond, located in the Presbytere on Jackson Square. Thanks for joining us today. Let's get started by meeting Lieutenant Xiaobin of the United States Coast Guard. Thanks for being here, Xiaobin.
Happy to be here, Eileen. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, what is your role with the United States Coast Guard?
So I'm stationed at Coast Guard District 8. That's headquartered right here in New Orleans, Louisiana. And District 8's area of responsibility covers 26 states. We span from the Florida Panhandle along the Gulf Coast to Mexico, covering up through the American Midwest and stopping right before the Great Lakes. So that's the area of responsibility that we cover. What I do for the 8th Coast Guard District is I'm the telecommunications chief there. So I basically oversee technology and communications for the 8th Coast Guard District.
Great. So what does the Coast Guard do before and during a hurricane?
So before a hurricane, what we do is we're really closely watching the weather. We're also working closely with our federal, state, tribal, and local partners to coordinate what will be the rescue efforts following the storm. We're also moving the people and assets like planes, ships, response people, things like that, putting them in the best places to respond after the storm passes. So during a hurricane, we're doing what you're doing or what you all are doing at home, which is just hunkering down and getting ready to come out there.
Okay, so how's the Coast Guard involved after a hurricane?
After a hurricane, as soon as it's safe to operate, we, the Coast Guard, along with any of our any of our first response partners, we mobilize life-saving support. Search and rescue is going to be our first mission, and then after that, we're probably going to also be doing some assessments of the waterways to see if we can reopen the port, reopen shipping, and then also responding to any reports of maritime pollution.
Okay. So what did the Coast Guard do after Hurricane Katrina?
So during the response to Hurricane Katrina, the Coast Guard rescued 33,500 people. We also responded to 4,000 pollution cases since the storm caused the release of about 8 million gallons of environmental contaminants. We also repaired and replaced 1,400 aids to navigation along the Gulf Coast, and we also coordinated the salvage of over 2,500 wrecked vessels and cars. In total, over 30 Coast Guard ships and over 100 Coast Guard planes and helicopters got sent down for the hurricane response. Some came from as far away as Alaska, actually, and in the end, about 1/6 of the Coast Guard's total workforce came and deployed in support of Hurricane Katrina operations.
Wow. You can learn more about the Coast Guard's efforts after Hurricane Katrina at the exhibition Living with Hurricanes, Katrina and Beyond. You can see artifacts such as this Coast Guard rescue basket. Why is it important to be prepared for hurricanes?
So the Coast Guard and other first response agencies want to be out there assisting people as soon as it's safe for us to do so. But the truth is, there's going to be a period of time in which we can't go out yet. So it's important to remember that you all out there are actually the most important link in the chain when it comes to personal preparedness. And so you should be prepared as much as you can be so that any of the life-saving resources that the Coast Guard or our partners have are used for the people most in need.
So how can families and kids be prepared for the next hurricane?
So generally, what families and kids can do is similar to what the Coast Guard does to prepare for storms, which is we watch the weather really closely. We are always looking at the risk picture, seeing what's in play, what's in danger, things like that. We make a plan. Sometimes we have to tweak the plan a lot of times, depending on what the hurricane or storm is doing. And then we do the plan and we execute after that. Specifically, I'm going to speak to the boating public that might be out there. Any families with boats, any kids with boats, lucky kids with boats. You're better than I am because I don't have a boat. But anyone who owns a boat should make sure that they move their boat to an area that's above the likely flood area. You want to remove any EPIRBs, life rings, life jackets, just any loose items basically. We ask you to do that because if they were to be shaken loose from your boat, a first responder might mistake it for a person in distress, and that's the last thing we want. is for resources to be spent looking for a person that might have just been a piece of loose equipment. And then the last piece of advice I'll give with that is if there's a storm coming and you're tempted to go out to sea in your recreational vessel, please do not do it. You will bring your great risk to yourself if you try to ride out the storm at sea. More specifically though, for the non-boating public, just for the general public, there's actually just a few things I'll cover. First is, please make sure that you have an emergency kit or a go kit for everyone in your family, pets included. Secure your home against any heavy weather, severe weather. Be prepared to lose power and water if you're staying in your home during the storm. And probably most importantly, it's important to stay informed. Throughout the storm, you need to follow the orders and advice of your state and local leaders, and particularly, you should pay attention and heed any orders if there's a mandatory evacuation.
Thank you so much, Xiaobin.
Thank you, Eileen. Thanks for having me here.
Let's talk about what you can do to prepare for hurricane season. 2 important steps to take with your family are to make a family communication plan and put together an emergency supply kit. Your family communication plan will let everyone know where to go and what to do in case of an emergency. As a family, choose where you will travel in case of an evacuation order. This could be a friend's house, the house of a family member, an evacuation shelter, or a hotel. Choose many different options in different areas, as you will need to adjust your plan depending on the direction of the storm. Work on memorizing the phone numbers of people in your immediate family or household, as well as the phone number of the house you may evacuate to in case of a city evacuation order. You can find more information about making a family communication plan in the Louisiana Emergency Preparedness Guide at getagameplan.org. You can also find more information from the federal government at ready.gov/plan or ready.gov/kids. Now you can help us pick the best items for an emergency supply kit. An emergency supply kit is important to have on hand whether you're sheltering at home or if you're evacuating to another location. You're going to want to pick items that will keep you safe and healthy and well informed with up-to-date information, even if the power goes out or if you lose access to internet. All of our suggestions for a supply kit are based on recommendations from the Louisiana Emergency Preparedness Guide, which you can find at getagameplan.org. So let's start the supply kit challenge.
So what we're going to do is we're going to show you 2 items, and you can decide, help us decide, whether to pack one item or both items in our handy dandy supply kit. We'll give you about a second to respond, and then we'll tell you the right answer.
Okay, let's get started. We're going to start with hydration. Should you pack bottled water or your favorite soda? It's best if you choose the water. Water is good to have around in case the tap water becomes unsafe for drinking. And the state recommends that you have at least 3 gallons of water per person.
Next, we'll be moving on to communications. To get the most up-to-date safety and weather information, would you rather pack a battery-powered radio, or would you rather pack a laptop? If you picked the radio, you're correct. This battery-powered radio doesn't need electricity or the internet. It's going to be more reliable for receiving information from official sources during the storm. Please remember to pack extra batteries too.
Now we'll move on to light. Would you pack a flashlight or candles? Even though both of these things can provide light, you should choose the flashlight because candles are a fire hazard. Flashlights operate on batteries, so again, remember to pack extra batteries. But if you don't have a flashlight or batteries, you can ask a parent or an adult to pack the candles and waterproof matches.
So next, we get to move on to the fun stuff, entertainment. Would you rather pack your Xbox or other fun video game console, or would you rather pack a bunch of books and a deck of cards? If you picked the books and deck of cards, you're right. You won't be able to play video games if the power goes out, and you want to be able to choose fun activities that don't rely on electricity and are quiet too. Please remember that you might be in an evacuation shelter with other people and you don't want to be a bother to them. You also want to make sure that whenever you pack doesn't take up too much space in your supply kit. And I know that my Xbox would take up too much space in my backpack.
Now we'll move on to wellness. Should you pack prescription medications or a first aid kit? In this case, you want to pack both. It's important to have any medications that your family may need, so please ask your parents to pack medicines enough for 7 days for each member of your family, as well as any written prescription copies. You also want to bring your first aid kit for bumps, bruises, cuts, or bug bites. Just make sure that it's well stocked.
So our next category is hygiene and self-care. Would you rather pack your electric toothbrush and your favorite hair dryer? Thank you. Or would you rather pack the toothbrush that you got from your dentist and the bar of soap? If you picked the toothbrush that you got from the dentist and the bar of soap, you picked correctly. Again, you don't want to rely on tools that need electricity, and also please make sure that you're packing everything that you think you might need for an extended stay somewhere else.
So that could include shampoo, conditioner, or any other personal hygiene items. All right. Now, what food would you pack in your emergency supply kit? Would you choose ice cream sandwiches or a jar of peanut butter? As much as we all like ice cream, you should probably pick the peanut butter. The ice cream sandwiches will melt if you lose access to power. And peanut butter is long-lasting and provides lots of energy. You're gonna wanna have at least 3 days worth of non-perishable food items or food items that won't go bad in your emergency supply kit for each person. I'm sure you did a great job on our supply kit challenge. Now you want to go online and find out what other materials you might need. Other things include warm blankets and clothing, sturdy shoes, or special care items for babies or senior citizens or other members of your family. Remember to pack supplies that will prevent the spread of the novel coronavirus COVID-19, including face masks and hand sanitizer. Keep in mind that evacuation timetables have changed due to COVID-19, and social distancing measures may be in place at hotels and evacuation shelters. Again, you go to getagameplan.org to find out more about an emergency supply kit, download the Louisiana Emergency Preparedness Guide, and start preparing with your family. Finally, in case of an evacuation, remember to bring your pets. You will want to practice getting your pets in their carriers on just a regular day when they're calm, and hopefully this will be helpful when you are preparing for an evacuation. You can learn more about hurricanes at the Louisiana State Museum's permanent exhibition, Living with Hurricanes, Katrina and Beyond, at the Presbytère on Jackson Square in New Orleans. The exhibition provides a brief overview of Louisiana's history, geography, and environment. Then it gives a timeline of the events leading up to Hurricane Katrina. The exhibition shows the devastating impacts of Hurricanes Katrina and Rita. It tells the stories of first responders and everyday heroes who saved lives in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina with artifacts such as Stephen J. Ford's pirogue and Judith Buffon's hatchet that she used to escape her home. It shows the struggle of patients and doctors trapped in Charity Hospital and the hardships faced by those who sheltered at the Superdome. Next, the exhibition investigates why these hurricanes had such a devastating effect on the Gulf Coast, discussing levee failures, wetlands loss, and inadequate disaster management. However, Louisiana is resilient. The exhibition shows how communities came together after the hurricane to recover and rebuild. It also explains what you can do to be prepared for a hurricane or emergency weather event. This year, in August 2020, will be the 15th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. One of the most important things you can do in this big anniversary year is to make sure you and your family are prepared for any future hurricanes. Thank you for spending time with us today. Remember to talk to your family about hurricane preparedness and plan a trip to see Living with Hurricanes, Katrina and Beyond at the Presbytère.
And since you can't pack your ice cream in your supply kit, might as well eat it now anyway. Cheers!